There, let me see. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. This is fun. Okay, well, welcome everyone on YouTube. How's it? You guys are getting the crispy audio and video, so enjoy. What, a bit of a delay. There will be a bit of a delay, like it is what it is. And to everyone on the Instagram live, you're not getting the crispiest. So if you want real crispy audio and video and not whatever delay may or may not be occurring at the moment, go to our bio, the YouTube live stream link is there, and you'll get nice crispy video and better audio. But aware, this is the first installment of the CAYA-Side Chat. Do you like my fire?
Oh, you light my fire every day, Brad.
Oh, stop it. I'm quite stoked with it. Obviously, we couldn't organize a real fire, but we're doing what we can.
The pandemic.
Yeah. It's the pandemic's fault, as always.
Yeah.
So, the concept of this series, I don't know how regularly we're going to do them, but the basic concept is going to be to, sit down with much more educated people than myself and answer questions and problems that are common to various creators in our fields and try to help address those problems and discuss them. Everyone in the live, we've also got Addison and Durant in the room. The homies are here to give us an audience to talk to. But yeah, I mean, let's kind of just jump into it. So we had a bunch of people asking questions on our Instagram when I posted a few weeks ago, and there were a couple of different topics, but the most common one was marketing and sales. Yeah. So firstly, do you want to contextualize yourself? Just give yourself a little 5-second intro. And
basically, so everyone who's not on my followers and who doesn't know me, my name's Tshedza. I started a company called 3125 Digital, and we're focused on social media management, influencer management, and just anything that lights our fire, really. So that's a bit about us. We have a great team of influencers, let's call it that. We manage people across industries, so creatives, we've got like a visual designer, we've got pro athletes, some entertainers as well. So really diverse group of guys and gals. And always looking to grow the team, work with some cool brands on a day-to-day basis, and just try shake things up, really. That's the goal.
So Tshedza is the expert in this conversation.
There's an echo on the Instagram because of the two microphones. I don't know if you want to address that.
Is there a way to... I wonder if we can mute. Do you want to just see if you can mute one of our microphones? Like, can you mute a mic on a live? It seems like something that they wouldn't let you do. Oh, wait. Sussed.
Dope.
Dunzo. That should fix it.
Yeah.
I've muted his, so it should be just my mic. Cool.
Give a thumbs up if you can hear us.
Yeah, if you can hear us nice and crispy.
Clearly.
Apologies, we're doing some mic replacement, but it is what it is. So we asked a bunch of questions on our Instagram. The common problems were like marketing and sales, and how do people promote themselves as creators? Kind of how do people promote themselves as professional creators instead of just posting photos of their work? How to get people from being interested on the Instagram to actually becoming paying clients, which I think is a really common problem. I'll give you a sample of some of the questions, and we can just spitball around interesting points. Cool. So I mean, Alex Dixon said getting attention, the biggest problem was getting attention from the right group of people, i.e. people who will actually buy her work and pay for work. Getting paid from Margot. Good old Zaid, shout out Zaid.
Shout out Zaid. Spielberg.
Who said marketing himself as a service provider instead of just showing off work.
Yeah.
The need to make, and this is an interesting kind of counterpoint to all of these, is the need as a creative person to make something marketable. And how does that take away from your artistic work? Mm-hmm. Sourcing work.
With the heavy hitters.
Right. Sourcing work. This was from Jono Grayling. Shout out Jono, how's it boy?
Shout out Jono.
He's keen to see how he does without uni work as well. I mean, I think a lot of people are young creators in university trying to do the, play the balance and get that right. It's fucking hard. I know what you're on about.
I'm trying as well.
And then another feeling that work is underappreciated or not good enough. So imposter syndrome. And you know, how do I price myself as a creator, but I don't like back myself, but I do, but I like, you know.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, there were some more particular questions, but like off that, are there any things that you picked up that were interesting?
Yeah.
That you want to comment on?
Basically, just stop. I'm kidding, but
which is really easy to do, and you should just do it.
Just maybe just don't. Yeah. So basically, in my very limited, I might add, incredibly limited, but like broad experience, is that this thing is hard. You know, I've been at it for almost 9 years now. Next year will be 9 years of being a creative. When I started out, I didn't know that that's what I was doing, as I'm sure many people can agree with. And yeah, the biggest thing I would say is like, you just got to go and do it, you know, and to not sound very cliche, that's pretty much the focus. I mean, I posted something on my Instagram yesterday, just kind of looking back when we all had some time out from Mark Zuckerberg's apps. And just had to think about what the journey has been so far as a creative in starting an agency. How do you go and tell somebody you need to pay me? Like, it's such a wild concept, and I still battle with it on a daily basis sometimes, like being brought down to earth. But at the same time, you possess a skill set which some other people may have, but nobody has it quite like you do. And I think finding that A, unique selling points in what your offering is, and B, just having the self-confidence to push is often what gets you over the line. So whether I'm dealing with brands, whether I'm dealing with influencers or, you know, anybody really that has the money that I need, it's just about owning what you've got and knowing that every no leads you to a yes. I mean, when I used to live in Australia, and my first job there was knocking on doors. I was a door knocker. Crazy concept, but like, they literally just told us, look, out of 100 doors, if you knock on 100, about 80 doors will answer, about maybe 30 will give you a conversation, 20 will be interested, and you'll probably close 5 if you're lucky. So I use the same kind of process, you know, in my day-to-day when I'm looking for brand campaigns and pitching different people. I'm like, look, I will go to 5 different hotels if it means like getting 1 yes to throw an event, or to have an influencer stay there for free, or even 5 different clothing brands for campaign work. So
it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. And once you get past that stage, because that's how everybody starts, you're just trying to crank out as much work as you can do, it becomes a quality game. Because I'd rather take a 30,000 Rand brand campaign from one brand than like 5 you know, 6,000 Rand campaigns, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you focus.
Yeah, obviously.
Focus is a one to get into.
It's one to get into. But I think the biggest thing, and what sounds like a common question, obviously, in the subject of marketing yourself as a creator, is how to get yourself out there. And, you know, oftentimes entrepreneurs and stuff will tell you, like, your friends aren't your target market. And that's very true as well. I mean, we're all young. You want the 3,000 Rand an hour for, you know, DJing, and like, I don't have it, but I might know somebody who does have it, and that's how, you know, you can get connected. So even for myself, when I need an influencer for something, or I need DJs for something, I'll just go and put out a tweet, send it to 4 or 5 people that I know with some good reach, and say, just retweet it for me, and it catches fire. So with you and your services, I would suggest maybe putting the same process through, you know, your friends that are popping online and stuff that maybe don't have the capital to fund your ideas or your skills. They might know somebody who does. And trust me, there's like, I know we're all in pandemic and our economy sucks, but like, you just go and find somebody that'll give it to you, go and get it. Also, what maybe holds people back is, and maybe this is more so for the influencers, is like keeping your eyes and ears to home only. While home is great, and like, I love this country, I love Cape Town as a city, I think it's very metropolitan, there's also so much scope outside of the country. And the fact that we live online nowadays, you can be in Cape Town and work in 5 different economies, and like, if that works for you, go for it. Also knowing how the industry works in terms of what seasons would be best to get work, what type of events and things you'd like to do, or what type of work you'd like to do, and who's looking for that work. I think, once you hit that niche, then...
Yeah.
send me a referral fee.
Yeah. Also, everybody on the lives, pop through questions. If you're on Instagram, pop it on the DMs, or on YouTube, put it in the chat, and we'll try to get to them. Do we have questions? Okay. No, it's still.
Moderating.
I'm not hurt. It's fine. Yeah, man. I think that's what it comes down to. I think finding a niche, if you can, putting in the work to develop your skill set to a point where you can, charge properly for what you're worth. But I think what you said about network is so important, and I think it's something that in Cape Town we don't always get as right as we may do in other parts of the country. But your network is your most valuable. If you're going to spend time on like business development, and I think that's another thing that we must touch on is, if you are a creative or an artist of any description, you are a business person, you run a company. That company happens to be you and your services, but you need to think about it that way. And so your biz dev time, put it into networking.
Sure.
Put it into networking.
Put in that work.
Your network is your net worth.
Your network is your network is your net worth. Yes, there we
Your
go.
vibe attracts a tribe.
Exactly. All these cliches, but they're true.
They're true.
They're very
They're
true.
true.
Yeah, and like, the one thing that makes me so passionate about working in this industry is that the people in it are so cool. And for me, like, especially starting Kaya this year, I mean, last year I basically didn't interact with anyone creative for the whole year. It was uni and online learning, and it was horrible.
Gosh.
And then this year to have met like and reconnected with so many cool creative people and met so many new creative people, I mean, I met Durant beforehand, but reconnect, and then having met both the people in this room this year, and then that, having met so many people that inspire me every day to work harder, and who, are inspirations, and they're young and they, our age.
Yeah.
And there are people that, age, please don't make that a limitation.
Yeah, for sure.
Because bullshit. You can do, if you want to do stuff in this industry, it's one of those weird ones where the bar to entry is simultaneously very low and very high.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't get a degree and then you are certified at a certain skill level, and you are, everyone goes, okay, cool, you've got that qualification, so I know you can do X and Y and Z, so I'll give you X job. That's not how it works.
Yeah, that's
what are your skills, and can you do the job? And if so, get on it. But that kind of leads into how do we deal with imposter syndrome and not feeling like you are worth the rate that you want to charge? And then how do you know what rate to charge?
Yeah, for sure. That's a question that I've dealt with like right from the beginning, because initially when I started, and this is the great thing about being creative, is you can start doing one thing and lead off doing something else. I mean, name me one university that has a degree in managing influencers. Like, you won't find it. And so
YouTube
for me,
University.
Probably. Even YouTube University, the lecturers suck, man. So in terms of like what rate should you charge, I think finding out what the industry standard is always good, just to ballpark. But at the end of the day, like, if there's somebody that will say yes to you charging them 10 bags, like, take it.
The 10 bag.
It's also learning about what kind of clients you're dealing with. So if you're approaching a small business, inherently you should be thinking, all right, I know they might not have the biggest of budgets. So find a way to make it work for yourself. If it means like you're working with Cotton On, let's say, when Cotton On started, or even Cotton On South Africa, and they say, look, we don't have the biggest of budget, then tell them, all right, cool, how about you give me 2 outfits or something, because they've already produced the clothes. They don't have to do extra to give you what they
find the
have.
arbitrage.
So if you can find a nice middle ground, especially as you're starting out, because it's gonna be like that no matter what business, actually, no matter what business you're in, you're always gonna have to like kind of cut yourself a bit short just to get deals done. But once you start rolling and rolling and rolling, then eventually, I mean, it can be as quick as doing one campaign with let's say a brand, and they've paid you 3,000 Rand for the campaign, and then the next time they come knocking, you're charging them 7,000 Rand, because A, you know what your skill set is, you would have produced the content, which is way more than 3,000, especially considering what their returns would be. But then also knowing like, okay, cool, I've had this experience now, I've built up my portfolio, you know, like I'm actually getting traction and actually getting deals done. So yeah, it's about finding out what the industry looks like in terms of, you know, what is the next creator charge? And then also, you know, just backing yourself. Like Brad said, you are a business. Your name is a brand. Your name is everything. So no matter like where you're starting, I think it's just important to like treat yourself that way, because if you don't take yourself seriously, then nobody else will. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. And like, yeah, if you don't back your work, if you don't think you're the hottest shit on planet Earth, please tell me how you can expect anyone else to.
You can't.
Because you know yourself better than anyone else. So if you don't back yourself, there's no reason for anyone else to do the same. So even if it feels like faking it, fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
If that's the motto, that's it, we're done. That's it.
That's it. That's actually my only piece of advice. Just fake it, guys. Like, honestly, I think the benefit of like having the pandemic come and like the rise of TikTok, for instance, and just people spending time honing their skills because they don't have anything else to do, and you know, or maybe they've realized through the pandemic that this is what they want to do. Honestly, you just gotta fake it till you make it. Push. Like, I'm still pushing every day. I don't have a clue what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, no, likewise.
Some days it works really, really well. Some days it doesn't work really well. Some days I don't work because I just don't have the energy. Like, I think we're in such a dynamic, you know, space right now to where those things are normal. Like, you're allowed to have off days. You're allowed to have really amazing days. You're allowed to look like you're living the dream. And meanwhile, like, you've just spent 6 hours emailing different brands and emailing different people trying to get gigs, but like you're just trying to get over the edge. So yeah, and that feeds also into like the whole collaborative nature of what being creative is. I think, you know, if you look at it like a band, you have somebody playing guitar, somebody playing the drums. If one of them is off, like one can't succeed without the other. And so being in a collaborative environment and finding those people, I think also leads to how you get ahead as a creator.
And building on the collaborative thing, you stole my segue, but it's fine.
Who's the host? Hi, welcome to Fireside.
Was to say like collaboration is where it's at, and it goes to how do you enhance your portfolio? How do you build up your reputation? You can go after all these big gigs, but until you've got that reputation, you're not going to get them. But what you can do is message somebody who you really respect, who's working with bigger brands, who's at a further point in their career, and say, hey, can I come be your second shooter? Can I come assist you on this project for this brand? Like, I'll do it for free, you know, and can I come and do that and just help you in whatever way I can?
Yeah.
A, you will learn so much from those people who are further ahead than you. And B, you then have shot for Cotton On or for Puma or Adidas or whatever before you yourself had the reputation to do so.
Yeah, for sure.
And then on your portfolio is a shoot you did for Adidas. No one knows the difference there. But then all of a sudden, to your prospective clients, you're somebody who shoots for Adidas.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, it's been a crazy 6 months. Like, moving to Cape Town. So for those who don't know, I had moved back to South Africa from Australia and lived in Pretoria over the last year or two. And I moved to Cape Town 6 months ago on a whim, and it's like skyrocketed, you know, my perception of how my life is going right now as a creator. And it's really not glamorous at all. Sometimes it looks like it because Instagram filters are amazing. But in saying that as well, it's been a really cool chance to just meet the wildest people that I've been a fan of for years. Like, I'm having conversations with them on a daily basis, and that's not to flex. It's just to be like, look, if you can shoot your shot, guys, like, send that DM. Honestly, I mean, none of my pitches or proposals or any deals that I've done really in the last 6 months, maybe about 2% of them come from emailing somebody. Like, everything comes from a lucky connection. So maybe I know someone who knows somebody, or just straight DM. Like, nobody's ever too big, you know, even to just give you a, hey, I'm not interested. Like, nobody's ever too big. And even if they don't reply, so what? There's somebody else just like
Yeah.
that. If you thought they were the hottest shit and they didn't think you were, then that's cool. Like you can move
Yeah.
on to the next. So in saying that, it's also about like having that confidence to just send it out, send out a
Yeah.
pitch, go and ask to be plugged by somebody, go and ask to tail with somebody. I think that always definitely helps. You know, for me, I know like if somebody asks me for graphic design work, for instance, I'm not a graphic designer, but I'm going to go and look for one who can help me on this project. And then that's you, that's your baby. That poster is yours. That,
Yeah.
you know, whatever you've done with me, you know, I'll always be grateful for that.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that's kind of the culture that like Brad and myself are trying to create, and especially with CAYA as a physical space, I think it's one that leads to like walk in the door and say,
Yeah.
hey, who do you know? I
Yeah.
often check the register downstairs to see who's coming to CAYA, because maybe I might see somebody that I know and be like, oh, what are you doing in the space? Or
You've done that a couple of times.
Yeah, a few times. Or somebody that I want to get to know, you know? So yeah, I think that's kind of where I see a lot of
community.
Yeah,
Do it in
honestly.
community.
Honestly.
You'll have, like, you'll meet incredible people. I know that the attitude, especially in Cape Town, is that the pie is very small and I need to get whatever, the biggest slice I can of it right now, but, you know, at the expense of my relationships with anyone else. But think bigger, man. Like, the potential in this industry in Cape Town, like, people don't, the American influencers see it. They're all coming here and making content and doing all sorts of stuff,
popping.
and then they're leaving to go back because Cape Town's better, but we're not doing, you know, we're all too used to it. And there's this mindset of like, the industry's as big as it's going to get, and so I've got to take whatever I can get while I can. And like, no, like work with people, collaborate, grow. There's economies of scale. You work together, you can accomplish bigger things than if you do it on your own. And then you're all of a sudden the person who worked on that project, not this project.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of bag to go around for everybody. You just
Genuinely.
need to know how to
Oh,
do
where
it
they at?
and do it together.
Where's the bag at?
Where's the bag?
Yeah, where's the bag?
What bag?
I need the bag.
But yeah, I mean, so another thing we posted on our story, we were doing a couple of days ago, we did all this or that, and then got some ideas from people on getting perspective from the audience on what they prefer in terms of content and mediums and things that work. So the one question was, what kind of branded content do you prefer? And the options were like clean and corporate or raw and unfiltered. And this one was actually one of the more middling ones. It was 42% for the cleaner and 58% for raw and unfiltered. In my perspective, it's going more in the raw and unfiltered angle. But from your professional opinion, like what do you see happening there?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it also depends. I think some brands obviously are like, hey, here's a brief, I need you to do this, that, and the other, and then you do this, that, and the other, and that's done. Other brands do give you that creative freedom, which always helps. But I think finding a nice niche, because like nobody really wants, like you're not gonna sell me this alcohol. Like you might get me interested in it, but it's how you get me interested in it. And I think having that hard sell kind of post pushes a lot of people away versus something that becomes an activation almost. So if I've got, you know, your funky socks, I'm gonna be like, hey, this is how I style my socks with different outfits or different shoes or different tips on how to wear your socks, as opposed to, hey guys, I just got this cool pair of socks from Happy Feet, Happy Socks, and you should go and buy it with my promo code, or just go to the nearest shop and buy it. Like no one's actually gonna.
I think the consumer is intelligent enough now to be able. I know I do it. Like I see like sell stuff, and it's just like, and I've seen 100 of these. Like what's the difference? And I think it is. I think that example you gave with the socks is brilliant. Like like you know, find a way to activate your product and contextualize it to the consumer as to why they want it, and you know, into that as a creator and how to apply that is, you know, especially if you're young, you understand these platforms a lot better than 40, 50-year-old marketing executives. And leverage that and leverage that in your own branding as well, as you promote yourself as a business. Leverage that understanding, because that's where your value comes in. there's lots of people that can take photos, and there's lots of older people that can take photos, and they've got 2 decades of experience on you. So you can't be competing there. Find your USP, find what your expertise is in, and lean into that, because that's where the value is coming in. Because the older people don't understand the market the way that it's working now in these platforms.
Definitely.
They're changing so fast.
Definitely.
That there's just, I mean, it goes. So another question was like,
also play with that. They don't understand, so charge them 10 bags. Go for it.
Yeah, just because your reel took you half an hour to make and edit, like, they don't need to know that.
I mean, just also on the pricing thing, I mean, there's often this one video that goes around maybe once or twice a year where it's like, how do you, when someone's dealing with how they price themselves, am I gonna, let's say I'm making a burger, right? I can make you the best burger in 10 minutes, but now I charge you by the hour for my services to make you a burger. Are you gonna get the best burger and for cheap because I'm really good at what I do? No, I'm gonna charge you for the skill set, not for the work that I produce. Because it's taken me all these months and weeks and years and days to refine my skills to be more efficient, to give you what you want quicker, because people don't want to wait for stuff anymore. People want to say, hey, Brad, I need content done in 3 hours. And you're going to be like, well, I can charge you by the hour. I charge 100 Rand. Now I'm only going to make 300 Rand. Whereas I've spent 3,000 Rand on learning how to make content quickly. Now I need that 3K.
Time value of money. I watched, it was an interesting video. Also, if you're a creator of any description, one thing I'd recommend you do in terms of learning how to run yourself as a business, there's a YouTube channel called The Future. The Futur without the E. And it's the company of a guy called Chris Do, who's a professional designer, but he's built this agency, and what they do is he hosts whiteboard sessions, which he live streams for free, and they're incredibly, incredibly valuable, very well presented, really entertaining. And one thing that he was talking about was that time value of money, which you touched on, which is that just, he'll go to people and say, I'm charging you $20,000 for this logo. Man's making bags. And then they come back to him and say,
I don't have 20.
I don't have 20, and you're saying you're going to get it done in a week. Like, we'll spend 20, but over several months. And he's saying, well, what's the value of the product to you now versus in several months? Surely it's more valuable now, right? And they say, yeah, okay, true, but we don't have the budget to spend. He says, the time value of that deliverable and the time value of money. If he can get it done, if you can get stuff done faster than the competition, you can charge more. Definitely. Because in today's day and age, like conversion time, time to delivery is everything. And look, this is also something that like we don't get right all the time. It's a bloody hard thing to get right. But if you can do it, if you can be one of those crazy people like Lorcan will give you, if you come do stuff with us, you need photos done, Lorcan will get it to you tomorrow.
Why am I still waiting for?
Listen, we all know what went down. But, try and get stuff done because you can charge more. Emphasize that time to delivery in today's day and age with how fast people want things to turn around. If there's an event that they want shot, they want the photos tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. Because
they're not
consumers
waiting.
Want that too.
Yeah, exactly. So, focus on speed. There was an interesting one, and this goes into video and platforms. What kind of video do you prefer? And then the options were long and in-depth, like longer form stuff versus short and entertaining. And I think it's a very simple question that actually has lots of layers to it, and we oversimplified the question. And a third said long and in-depth, and 2/3 said short and entertaining, which I think is actually reflective of that more complex question. But I think it comes down to, people. The production value in today's, with the advent of TikTok and Reels and Instagram saying they're now not a photo sharing platform, which was very interesting. But video is where the value is now, because it's much easier to produce. But people want, people's attention spans are short. So I think the nice thing with that is that with that short form, the production value is not the key kind of aspect.
Yeah. It might just be the attention
Turnover.
grabbing,
Yeah. How entertaining are you? And those things work. I'll get Okay, cool. The value isn't in your high production value, the amount of time. It's in you being you and not scripted. People can see a scripted TikTok.
For sure.
That's not to say don't plan it. That's not to say don't build a little shot list, do all of those things. But I think it comes down to the consumer knows when they're getting you and they know when they're getting a scripted you. And that's also really hard to do. Like on this live, I'm trying my best to be as legitimate as possible, but also, not be totally unprofessional or, all of these things. And I think in today's day and age, we all know that in your professional context, you're still a person that goes, we're so connected to the people behind a product now. We're so connected to the person behind a service that people are much more forgiving of your humanness and lean into that, because then if you don't, people are not as forgiving of you coming across as fake or scripted or anything like that. Do you want to give us a question?
A question from Chloe Z. Mafaku. She says, what's the importance of a media kit / artist profile, and where should I submit those, and what is required in those documents?
Okay. I mean, what experience do you have with artists? I think this might be one that sits slightly more in my wheelhouse, which is exciting.
Please go for it, because I absolutely hate media kits, so I'm not even gonna front about that.
So I've been doing media kits in the last little while. So media kits, electronic press kit, EPK, same thing. I'm going to say EPK. So this is particularly in reference, or at least in the context that I understand it, to musical artists, so bands, solo artists, whatever. Your EPK is what you send to a venue or a booking agent or a press company or someone in the press. That's basically, it's your little digital profile. It's everything that they could possibly need to know from you to write their story or make their booking or, do the promotion of your booking or your story. And it's trying to minimize anything extra that they need to get from you. Your EPK is so important. One, to me, it shows your professionalism. And there's a lot of stuff you can do in your EPK that shows your level of experience. For example, so there's your EPK, which typically has your artist bio. That's super important. Try and keep that short and sweet. Keep it down to the fundamentals of who and what you are as a performer, as an artist, and genuine. Don't try and be somebody else. Music is an industry that will not take your faking at all. You have to be honest to who you are and why you want to be a music. Why, what makes you passionate about making music. So your bio is probably the first thing you put in. Your press photos with the band I manage, Hey Imagine. Shout out, go follow, do all the things, Hey Imagine, on whatever you want. There's exciting things coming.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, absolutely shameless. Go, in your press pictures, you want to have a nice balance between your nice, clean, poster, headshot type stuff, which is, and think about those as well. Organize a shoot at CAYA Creative Studios. We'll sort you out a nice little package.
No, shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless plug. Think about what you want to put across in what that is. What that comes down to: outfits, lighting, makeup, and make those prepared pictures really nice. And then have live photos as well. Just because it allows a booking agent or a press figure to see that you actually are playing live and are actually up to stuff. And the live music industry is going to come back in the next few months and years, and you need to hop on that wagon. Then a performance video, if you can. I know that's something that happens a little bit later in most people's careers, but as soon as you possibly can, even if it's just a nicely filmed phone video, that will take you far. Especially in terms of booking agents, but press as well. Especially with a booking agent, they will not book you unless they know what you are like live. Or they will, but it'll not be a particularly exciting gig. So try and get that as soon as possible. And then you need to have links to all your music. In terms of where you submit that EPK should go to, there's other things you can include as well, links, But those to me are the fundamentals of what you put in. And put your rates in. They don't want to have to ask you again, okay, what are your rates? Put your rates in. It'll save you time on people who don't have the budget for you, and you back and forth and then find out. And B, it saves them having to ask. It's just, it means that from as soon as you're interacting post sending that EPK, you're on the same page in terms of getting paid. And then you're sending that EPK whenever you're emailing websites, music websites, some really cool sites that as a musician you need to be getting in touch with. Big shout out to Techs in the City. We love Techs in the City. Industry titans, incredible human beings that are really passionate about this industry. You have to, if you have releases, shows, get in touch with them.
Hit them up.
Yeah, Bubblegum Club are also doing some really cool stuff for the South African industry. Cape Creative Collective, shout out the homies. Get in touch with them as well. Those are the ones off the top of my head. And then venues. When you're trying to book gigs, Daisy Jones Bar in Stellenbosch. Very excited for what that does. Open Sesame, which used to be Aces and Spades. I'm from the rock live side, so I don't. Yeah, that's it. Waiting Room are doing some cool live stuff, especially if you're in hip hop. Look at Waiting Room. Anyone else? Recommendations?
Armchair, if you want a little bit more relaxed.
Armchair, yeah. Armchair Theatre in OBS.
Trenchtown has upgraded the sound system recently.
Trenchtown have upgraded their sound
They're
system.
open to hip hop, rock, anything.
Hip hop, rock, whatever. And just find the contact details. If you can't find the contact details of the booking agent that you need to send your stuff through, go there on a live night and ask one of the bartenders. They will find them for you, and they will do it quickly because they don't have time. So they will find that person for you very quickly.
And tip your bartender.
Yeah, and tip your bartender. Always tip your bartender. I hope that answers the EPK question to some degree. You can also get in touch with us if you want, and if you have more questions, and I'll continue to try and answer that where I can. And then there were just a couple of other interesting points I wanted to just touch on before we kind of wrap things up. Where do you, if you had to give a solid recommendation to a creator who's trying to, someone who's young, trying to build a name for themselves in the industry, what are your key steps? What are your recommendations? Whether these are mediums and platforms you need to focus on, these are, steps you need to take in terms of networking, these are, brands you need to be trying to, although that's quite specific. What would be your kind of go-to recommendation, when you pick, even when you pick someone up for 3125?
Yeah, I mean, for me, a lot of businesses and a lot of other factors and players come into play when they're all right, I need somebody who's only got 10K and above. For me, numbers don't actually matter. Yes, they do matter, but I'm in love with the process. So I'd rather, spend time building a brand, whether it's a personal brand or a small business. I think my main things would be obviously put yourself on the platforms where your consumers will be. So if you're a musician, it's obviously best to be on all the streaming platforms and have a front-facing, being an Instagram or I think Facebook is a bit dead, but everybody needs a Facebook to be on the other platforms. So Facebook, Twitter as well. Twitter is the ultimate plug because literally tweets catch fire quickly. Fireside chats. I would definitely say put yourself out on as many platforms as you can where you're comfortable. And then, using whatever available network you have to then grow that network for sure. And not being afraid to ask for help or to ask for anything, really. I think I'd rather ask somebody for something and get a yes or a no, then I know how to move forward, as opposed to wondering, look, does Brad maybe know a photographer I could use? I don't know, I don't want to ask, So rather just ask. And then, it's just, backing yourself, like I said, having those small things like the EPKs prepped. Personally, I don't care for them, but go for your life. Because I'd rather do...
If you're in the music industry.
Yes, if you're in the music industry, definitely get it. If you're creative, from an influencer standpoint...
You need to have a portfolio.
It's good, take it. I definitely go for it. Just don't bother me with that. But I would definitely say having an EPK is important. Having something where you're minimizing how many times you need to explain yourself. You're just, you want to find out more? Boom. I think people, often you have to think of what the customer journey to booking you for something is like. If it means that you're constantly having to like tell people your prices or tell people what you've done, then you're speaking too much. I think just having something where you go, cool, for any more info, boom, there you go. And then obviously also knowing that you can't do everything by yourself, I think is quite important. People like us who are maybe a bit too overly passionate might think otherwise, but having a good team of friends, of supporters, of management as well, is quite important to be able to further your goals. So not everyone is always at that level or at that stage, and it's also not for everyone. But yeah, definitely once you find the right crew, you can roll with it and go far. So. Yeah, and then just being, keeping your ears to the ground on current affairs, I think is also quite important, because it doesn't help me to go to Rocking the Daisies and say, hey, I'm charging 15 grand for 2-hour sets, and they're like, we're in COVID, we don't have that money. But the level of association you'll get from being with the Daisies, it actually might lead you to your next big gig. So yeah, playing with that as well, I think is quite important. And yeah, just plugging, guys, just plug. I know we have load shedding issues, but just plug. Plug each other, collaborate with each other.
Please plug each other.
Yeah.
By God.
Support each other, and push. You're going to get there, trust me. I'm not there yet, and I feel like I am some days. I get really nice emails, I have really good conversations, do really cool campaigns, and then tomorrow I'm going to feel like, damn, I'm back at square one. I need to go again. So having that internal hunger, knowing that it's not always going to be fun and sexy and booming, I think is also quite important. But that's just natural.
Yeah, that's the game. I think that's a good kind of point to start wrapping things up. I think it also comes down to collaborate with people. Back yourself, at least outwardly, even when you don't back yourself inwardly, because you got into this for a reason, and it's something that you're clearly passionate about, and follow that passion and follow that instinct, even when sometimes it doesn't feel right. Engage with other people. I mean, Tshedza's pretty much covered everything that I would say ordinarily. Surround yourself with infrastructure that will support you and take you forward. I think that's kind of a caveat on what Tshedza was saying. Surround yourself with people that inspire you to do better, not only creatively, but in the way that you present yourself as a creative business person. Because that's something that is not often something that creative people want to do, and it will set you apart. Take yourself very seriously, take yourself as a professional. And surround yourself, put yourself in environments and situations that encourage that. If you want to work on projects that you enjoy that we're doing, hit us up and we'll make something happen. We are working on some really cool stuff. We have some really cool stuff in the pipeline. If you want to come out and just shoot for a day with us, or you want to come and work on stuff, get in touch. We've had a few walk-in people where we're just like, okay, cool, let's figure out how to, get you to fit in. And we want more friends. The office.
They have an Xbox here, guys. Come on.
The office is getting more fun, but we wanted to get more fun, and there's exciting stuff happening there as well. So keep your eyes on the Insta. But yeah, I think ultimately back yourself. Don't undercut yourself, and be the kind of person that you'd really like to work with is another thing. But yeah, I think that's going to be us. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in, and we'll do more of these. And thanks to Addison and Dury, and thanks to everybody on YouTube who were watching as well. We really appreciate it, and your time and energy, and we hope it was valuable. Slide in our DMs, let us know what you liked, what you didn't, what you would like more of. If you've got any other questions, and we'll try and address them. Go follow Tshedza on Instagram. What's your tag?
At Baby Daddy.
At Baby Daddy, nice.
at Tshedza M, and then obviously at 3125 Digital. Just also touching on what you said, I'm an open book, so please come and hit me up, ask me for anything. If I can plug you to your next gig, that's what I'm here for. I'm trying to build that environment. I think Brad and I would be people that have found a lot of gatekeepers, the 20-year
Yeah.
experienced guys, and we're trying to like cut that culture here and start
Yeah.
anew. So yeah, let's collaborate. You know, I want to hear your ideas. I want to see how I can add value, how you can add value to others and myself. And who knows, maybe
Yeah.
we'll be doing some cool stuff together. So
Yeah.
those are the vibes.
Amen.
Kev.
Thank you, everybody. That's it from us for this one. Cheers. Bye-bye. Now we need to end all the live streams now that we've awkwardly
Now we
said
gotta
bye.
end
It's
all
like
that.
when you end the Zoom